In Nigeria, right? What tribes do you have? Which tribe are you from? Huh? Ibibio? Is that the Igbo tribe? No, it's not the Igbo tribe. It's Ibibio. So what happens in Nigeria, right? Where they colonized in Nigeria. You know what colonize means? They took white people came and took the resources, correct? That's what happened in Nigeria. Right now, and way back when, right? So when these people were being enslaved on slave ships in Nigeria, they were taking the land and the resources, right? So what we're reading is our history in the Bible, yours and mine, right? So when we're reading our history in the Bible, get Deuteronomy 28, and I want to go to verse 31, I think it is. You tell me if this happened in Nigeria or not. Watch this. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
So the animals that we ate in our land, right? The white man came and killed them. Right? All of our food resources, they came and took them. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not eat thereof.
So we weren't able to eat those things, right? Because they had control of it, right? What we're reading is the Bible. A lot of times we don't venture into these parts of the Bible because in the Christian church they don't let us read this stuff. They say only the New Testament is valid, right? God loves everybody. But when we venture into other parts of the Bible, we're realizing that guess what? The people that God was talking about, that these things would happen to, right? We lived those things. Read that one more time.
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
God says the people that were colonized, right? Because you have these tribes over here that were colonized, right? You have right here, right? When we were in Africa, the Arabians came to certain parts of Africa. You have the white man that came through certain parts of Africa, right? And you have the Nilotic Africans, right? You know the Nilotic tribes. You have the Bantu and you have the Nilotic tribes, right? So you have those tribes that came through certain parts of Africa and also enslaved other tribes, correct? Am I correct? You don't know the history of Africa? Right, so in Africa you had other tribes that came and enslaved other tribes, right? So when we were in Africa, right? Because we are originally from the top of Africa. I know you're from Nigeria, right? But there's a, huh? You've never heard that before? That other Africans? You've never heard that other countries enslaved people in Nigeria? You've never heard that? Did you grow up there? Your accent is strong. You grew up there, right? So when we read the history, who got the Babylon and Timbuktu? When we read the history of Nigeria, right? When we read the history of Nigeria, we read about people being colonized. Colonized is a form of slavery where they don't take you away from your land, they just take all the resources in your land. That makes sense? So that happened in Nigeria. Let me ask you this, are most people in Nigeria Christian? They are. Huh? Some are Christian and some are Muslim. Where do these religions come from? They don't come from within Nigeria. They come from outside of Nigeria, correct? So who brought those religions to Nigeria? Right, you were born and became a Christian, right? In Nigeria, which Jesus do you see? Do you see the Jesus that looks like this or the one that looks like this?
The one that looks like this.
This one?
Yes.
Do you see this one, right? Let's read about Jesus in the Bible. I want you to hold that because we're going to go in that and show some history. Give me Revelation chapter 1 and verse 14. Let me ask you this. This has been the image in my life, right? These images I've been seeing my whole life of Jesus, right? This one, this one, this one. Here in America, we see all of them, right? And we think that this is Jesus, correct? So now when we read about Jesus in the Bible, right? He doesn't look like this. What should we believe? Should we believe the Bible or should we believe the picture? We believe in the Bible, right? So if I read in the Bible that Jesus does not look like this, what are you going to believe?
he went to the cross.
Okay. So what I'm asking you is, when I read in the Bible, if he does not look like this, are you going to believe the Bible or are you going to believe the picture? Okay. Let's read that.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse
He has his own
14.
mind.
Verse 14.
Yep. Start at verse 1.
Verse
So
1.
we can see who it's talking about. Watch this.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So who are we talking about? Jesus Christ, right? And it says the revelation. The word revelation means to reveal, right? So the revelation of Jesus Christ, meaning Jesus Christ is going to be revealed in this chapter. Let's jump down to verse 14 real quick. Watch this.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
And it says his head, right? His head and his hairs were white in color and woolly in texture. That's right. Wool. Who has woolly hair? Like a sheep. Who? Jesus Christ. Do you have sheep hair? Do you have hair like a sheep?
Look at his outfit right there.
You don't have hair like a sheep? Do I have hair like a sheep? No? I do? What about your hair? Do we have the same hair, you and I? Huh? It's black hair, but wool is a texture. You understand? When you feel it, it's like wool. You understand? Now, the texture is wool. The color was white. You understand? So when we read about Jesus' hair, go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool,
White in color, woolly in texture. Watch this.
as white as snow.
Uh-huh.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
And it says his eyes were like a flame of fire, right? So like when you get tired, the whites of your eyes turn red, correct? I'm tired, my eyes are red, right? Maybe you drink a little wine, your eyes are red, right? Watch this. It says Jesus Christ, his hair was like wool and his eyes were red like fire. Read.
And his feet
And when they looked down at Jesus' feet, right? Read.
like unto fine brass.
They said his feet was like brass. Do you know what color brass is? No? I'll give you a hint, right? So like, you see this?
Oh, brown.
Yeah, like brown, right? That's brass, right? So when they looked down at his feet was brown. They were like brass, right? Let me ask you this. Is his feet brown? His feet is not brown, right? Is his hair like wool? No. So,
This is brown hair.
right, he has brown hair, right? And he doesn't have brown feet. His eyes are not red. You see where I'm going with this, right? Watch this. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass,
But not only were they brown, right? Read.
as if they burned in a furnace.
They were so brown as if they burned in a furnace. They were brown like you and I, like dark brown. That's right. Like strong brown, like coffee black. You understand? That's how dark his skin was.
Right.
Because when you look down at your feet, is your feet brown? When you take your socks off, are your feet brown? Your feet are white?
Dark brown. Dark brown.
Your feet are black, right? But think about it. Look at your hands. That's not black. That's a dark brown. It's like dark coffee brown. That's brown, right? Black is my tan. Your feet are brown, right? So when they looked down at his feet were like as if they burned in a furnace. If you burn anything, is it darker or is it lighter? If you burn it, it's black, right? So when they looked down at his feet were black. So if his feet were black and he had woolly hair, who is this guy? Is this Jesus? We read about Jesus in the Bible. Is this Jesus? No. So guess what? Somebody lied to us.
Right.
You understand? That's what we're trying to show our people. That somebody lied to us. And told us that Jesus was this guy. So when we read about Jesus in the Bible, if they're saying that this is Jesus, then guess what? Everything they say after that has to be a lie. That's right. It has to be false, right? For instance, my brother, come closer.
And he got a question too.
Come closer. I got a question for you. You got a question for me? You want to ask yours first? I got a question for you. Does God love everybody? He does. What do you say? It's true, right? Remember, what we just read to this sister right here is with the description of Jesus, right? And she thought that this was Jesus, right? Right? Because when we read when we go to church, this is what we see on the walls. This is what we see in the pamphlet. This is what we see in our Bibles that they put pictures of. That's right. When we read about Jesus, right? What do you think he looks like? Does it matter? If it's written in the Bible, would it matter? Even if it's written in the Bible? I got a question for you. You know your father? You do? What? Huh? No, I'm still talking to you too. You know your father, right? So your father, what if I said your father is a Chinese man and he's 4'2"? Is that your father? That's not your father? That means it matters what your father looks like, correct?
Right.
That's what that means. Because I tried to describe your father, but I described him wrong. And you said, no, that's not my father. You understand? You understand why it's important? Because the things that they said that Jesus Christ did were great things. They are great things, right? But if they give it to this man, guess what? They disconnect you from Jesus. Right. They disconnect you from him. Because now, if it's this guy, then that has nothing to do with you. Yep. You understand? So when we read about Jesus, let's read about it again real quick. Let's get verse 14, because we read it to her, and I want you to hear it. Watch this.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
It says his head and his hairs were white in color, but it said his hair was like wool in texture. Who has woolly hair? My sister, let me see your hair real quick. Can I see your hair? You see that? That's right. That's woolly hair. That's right. Right? So read on.
As white as snow.
As white as snow. Right? Hers is almost white like Jesus Christ. Read.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire. And his feet.
When they look down at his feet, right? If I look down at your feet, am I going to see the bottom of your feet or am I going to see the top? I'm going to see the top of your feet. The top of your feet shows your pigment. The color of your face, the color of your hands, we can see that on the top of your feet, correct? So when they looked at the top of his feet, read.
His feet like unto fine brass.
Unto fine brass. What color is brass? Brown. Brown. But how brown? Read.
As if they burned in a furnace.
It was so brown as if they burned his feet. That's how brown they were. So when you... when you give all the miracles that Jesus Christ did, him dying for his people, doing all those great things, guess what? If you give it to this guy, you're giving it to a whole different person. That's right. You're giving it to somebody else, because this is not Jesus Christ.
No.
What's your name? Javier. Let's say Javier done great things in his life, right? Right? You save people, you heal people, all these great things, right? Great achievements. But Javier, right? Javier is an East Indian, Middle Eastern guy that is 6'2". Is that you? So now they give your reputation to somebody else. How would you feel? It wouldn't feel good, right? That's what they did to Jesus.
Right.
After they killed Jesus, they gave his reputation to this guy. You understand? Hey, come closer, because I know you got a question for me. This guy's name is Cesare Borgia. He was the son of the sixth pope of Rome. This is the drawings, the first drawings of what Jesus would be in today's society. They drew this guy, whose name was Cesare Borgia, and they made him the Jesus Christ of the new world, what we call today. Right? Hey, my brother right here. What's your name? It's a lie. It's a lie. You've been. Hey, my brother, come here real quick. Have you seen this picture of Jesus before? You ain't never seen that before? Never? So let me ask you this. What do you look like? Do it matter? It don't matter? I got you. What's your question, my brother?
What's your nationality on this chart right here?
What's your question? I want to answer this question so y'all can hear it, right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to go in the Bible and answer his question. You want to stick around for? Watch this. Go ahead.
You said what? I know you gotta go.
Okay. Why is your mom going through what she goes through? God will put you through that? Right. Where my mom died when I was 15. Right? I've been through that before, and I feel your pain, bro. Right? It gotta be a hard thing. Because it was hard for me. Right? So watch this. You're asking, why would God put you through that? You answered your question with the first statement that you made. Give me that in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. Watch this. That's what the brother asked, right? Hey, you ever went through a hardship in your life, bro? Like somebody dying? How would you feel if somebody died close to you? Huh? You'd be sad? Watch this, read.
1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13.
This is what the brother quoted. Watch this.
There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man.
Such as is what?
Common to man. But God is faithful.
God is what?
Faithful.
Because a lot of times we not faithful to God. Right? I'll give you an example, right? Do you smoke? Not anymore? Do you do any drugs? Not anymore. That's good. That's great. Right? My brother, you smoke? You drink? What about you? You smoke?
Hell yeah.
You do?
Uh-oh.
What you smoke?
I smoke tree all day.
You smoke tree all day, right? What about you? You got a girlfriend? You do got a girlfriend. He say he smoked tree, you got a girlfriend, right? What I'm showing you, right? The Bible says God is faithful, right?
That's right.
Guess what? God is faithful, but are you faithful?
Say so.
Are you faithful to God?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You are? Okay. Watch this. I want you to stick around real quick, because I wanna go in the Bible and see if you're faithful to God, right? Because what we can do is, all we're gonna do is we're gonna match what we say to the words of God, right? And we gotta match them up. Because if you really believe in God, right? When we go in the Bible and we see what God actually say, if we doing that, then we all right. If we not doing that, then you got something to change about yourself, right? Watch this. Go ahead.
You want to finish this?
Yeah, finish it.
But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
God ain't gonna let you go through something that you're not able to bear. How do I know that you're able to bear it? You're standing before me right now. You understand it? You got the strength to bear it. And God put it within you, but you gotta understand it for yourself. I've been through it, and then I came out on top. So now I have a successful family and 7 children. But if I didn't believe I could go through it, right, then I'd probably be somewhere sitting on somebody's corner, drugged out, trying to drink myself to death, trying to smoke myself to death. My brother right here, give me 1 Corinthians 3.
Double back. I'm about to,
No, I got you real quick. I got one scripture for you.
1 Corinthians.
3 and verse 16.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 16.
You said you're faithful to God, right? Watch this.
Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
So that's what you do know. You know you're the temple of God, right? All right. Hey, your card, which one is your card? This Ford right here? Okay, what you about to put in it?
Little dub.
Little dub of what? 87, 89, 91?
87.
Why you ain't put 91?
That's what it takes.
Okay, that's it.
Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
So you know that you the temple of God, right? Read.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
Hey, God's Spirit supposed to dwell in you, right? Like my brother right here is about to ride off on the bike. He said he stopped smoking a long time ago, right? Watch this. God's Spirit is supposed to dwell in you, inside of your temple. Read.
If any man defile the temple of God,
But if you what?
defile the temple of God.
If you put smoke in your body, you put too much alcohol in your body. Let me ask you this. You like shrimp?
It's cool.
Crab?
Nah.
Lobster?
Not really.
Pork?
Fuck with it.
Yeah. Right? Do you know all of those things defile your temple that I just named?
Yeah.
All of those things defile your temple. Start from the top again.
If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy.
Him shall God destroy. We wonder why grandma got gout. We wonder why a lot of our people suffer from lung cancer. We wonder why one drug leads to another. People start off smoking weed, but then they go to smoking meth.
Yeah, right.
Then they go. I'm telling you, the same people.
Other people, I understand.
I'm not saying you, but look, the same people stood right there and said what you said, and then 10 years later, they were smoking the stuff that they smoked. So, but think about it. Even the weed that you smoke is what defiles your temple.
Yeah.
Right? It defiles your temple. Right? Now, what you told me is you put 87 in there, right? I asked you why you ain't put 91. My brother, you smoke? For sure, he smoked too, right? Let me ask you this. I asked him, is he faithful to God? He said, for sure. But you smoking, right? God says you ain't supposed to defile your temple. If you smoking, you ain't faithful to God, bruh. You know what you are faithful to? You faithful to your car. Because you put 87 in your car every time. But God told you, you ain't supposed to put no smoke in your body. You ain't supposed to eat no pork, no shrimp, no crab, no lobster. You're not faithful to God. You faithful to Ford.
But I'll be alright.
But you ain't gonna be alright, bro.
I'll be alright.
You know why you ain't gonna be alright?
God
Because
forgives.
we live
God
in a
forgives.
sense.
God
You gotta
forgives.
listen. You gotta listen. God do forgive. Only if you change.
Who said I'm gonna be doing this my whole life?
You gotta stop today.
I don't have to stop
Yeah,
today.
give me that. Ecclesiastes 8:11. You know what happens though? You know what happens? If I put a bottle of Coke in your car today, it's done. But guess what? You gotta stop smoking. Because you're gonna put the smoke in your body today and you might not make it out the gas station.
Gather the sheep.
Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 11.
You know what happens to us, bro? What I'm showing the brother, right, is love. This is the reason why I'm showing him love, right? Because you may think, ain't nothing happened to me while I've been smoking. I've been cool, right? Watch what God say. Read.
Because sentence against an evil work.
Because sentence against an evil work, sentence against what you've been doing, ain't nobody said nothing. Ain't nothing happened to you. Watch this.
It's not executed speedily.
It's not what?
Executed speedily.
My brother, right? Watch this. sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. God ain't just judged you right now for what you're doing, right? It ain't executed speedily. Watch this.
Therefore, the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
So now you convinced that you can continue doing evil because God ain't judged you yet. But what I'm here to tell you, give me Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. Right? When you see your brothers dying in the neighborhood, when you see your brothers getting killed in the street, they've been smoking their whole life. They've been packing their whole life. They've been gangbanging their whole life. And they ain't think nothing was going to happen to them. They doing the same thing we grew up doing. They think nothing was going to happen to them. Because God didn't judge you the day that you thought it was going to happen. But then somebody pull up on you and spray the whole car up.
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.